Warning. The following podcast contains nicotine, fat clouds, coarse language, and other adult shit. It is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Give a big CBD Source welcome to Jamie Hall. So we're in your kitchen right now.
I am.
I feel like we're in it too now. Split screen. So before we get into cooking, you're going to do a little demonstration for us, like live on the show today, huh?
I have couple things. So I did one of my savories, which I'm going to eat for lunch right after this. So I have kind of the completed version. This is my romesco. And I just have it over rice with a salad and some avocado. And I was going to add just the CBD. That's the only part that's left for that. But this is kind of what it starts as. And let me know.
So what is that? Yeah, tell us what we're looking at here.
Yes, totally. Okay, so this is everything. It's a really easy recipe. It's called Lazy Girl Romesco, and it's just a bunch of things that you put together in some olive oil and roast. So it's almonds and roasted red pepper, and I've got some roasted garlic and a couple globes of olive oil. And then you put everything into a blender, and it makes this very nice sauce. I have the rest of it in a jar.
Nice.
Yeah. And so again, this is the kind of finished dish here.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Like
we also eat potatoes and stuff. It's kind of good on pasta. It's pretty solid for anything. You can eat it with crackers as like a dip. So everything that I made today, for quarantine purposes, I've gotten very good at dosing everything after the fact because we're in a party setting, and I fear that we might be in a party state of mind forever if we used servings for 9 to 12 for two. So yeah, the way that and the nice thing about the romesco is, as with most of the recipes, you can go ahead and do the high cooking temperatures, which you want to avoid with the CBD already added,
right?
Because the oil. So generally speaking, most of the stuff we added after the fact. So it's salad dressings and soups and stuff like that. And for this one, since it's the middle of the day, I just go with what I know is like a 15 milliliter calibration.
She's putting a bunch of drops from a tank. It's not a full tank, but just how many drops did you put in there?
So that one works out to be about 5 to 6 drops. Is usually my go-to for a 15. So I call it a microdose. Some people 35 is a little bit more. I tend to be the romesco is, again, a roasted red pepper, but I have it in this, it's kind of like I have a cuckoo clock, but I've never consumed cuckoo right now. All right, so it's over rice, and I've got kind of a shredded cabbage situation and half an avocado and some sliced cucumbers. Everything's got like a sesame seed, olive oil, dill, and basil situation over the top of it. And then I have my romesco sauce, which is, again, that red pepper sauce. It has a vinaigrette, balsamic with it, and olive oil, and then garlic and the roasted nuts. And that's all blitzed up. And it's the most delicious thing ever. It's really good.
It looks beautiful, and you've got it in sort of a adobe, like a terracotta kind of pot or something.
All about my pottery. A hobby.
Nice. This is our first zoom into someone's kitchen, so this is cool. You're breaking the mold here.
No, I'm super pumped to be here.
Yeah, it's fun. This is fun to watch. I hope
All
it's fun to
right.
listen to.
I know, I was going to say, I guess. All right. So then for the dessert thing that we're going to do, the cookbook is mostly based on desserts.
Yeah.
The savories was like the afterthought. Although I cook more savories than desserts, full disclosure. One cannot live on dessert alone.
Says
okay,
you.
So I'm going to do banana pudding. And the cookbook kind of leans into whole foods. It's very gluten-free, friendly, and a lot of the recipes are vegan. Not everything. Some things have eggs. I'll be very honest. It's kind of a made-up diet that we have. I eat eggs because we have chickens in my backyard, so
nice.
I eat those eggs. This one's a straight-up vegan, gluten-free dish. So I have a Vitamix with bananas, and again, for COVID-related reasons, I've done a half serving. The actual recipe in the cookbook is for 9, so I halved it.
Yeah, it looks like you got 5 or 6 bananas in there. It's a whole bunch. It's like nice. Someone was just telling me about a Vitamix like a couple days ago. It's like the best kind of blender. It's so expensive, but I was thinking of getting one day, maybe not soon. But what's up?
You can't achieve the consistency that is like the silky smooth emulsified thing without I mean, you can still have a really solid banana pudding. Don't worry about that. But in soups and things like that, that's where I really noticed the difference. If you want something that just looks like it never started out as a nut, you can also make flour and things like that, which if you're really going to start cooking from my cookbook and get really into like the non-gluten flours, it might be an investment.
Cool.
So that's the 6 bananas in the life-changing Vitamix. And then I have a cup of cashews. So normally, again, it's more, but it's half.
I'm freaking starving, man.
Time to not eat. All right. So I also have about 3 tablespoons of maple syrup measured out. Kind of a little more than that. But the book kind of stays away from non-refined sugars. So I use a lot of like coconut sugar and maple syrup, things like that. That goes into it. And then I'm going to do a little bit of vanilla. It's super weird to know that I'm doing this like for no one.
Is that extract? Oh, you're doing it for us. We're watching you. So that's vanilla extract or something? Is that like raw vanilla bean? I love that. Tastes so good.
Yes. Smells amazing. And baker's secret, if you get vanilla beans and you scrape them and then leave the whole bean inside the vanilla, it's like extra delicious.
That's a good tip.
Baker hack. And then a little bit of salt. So then the last thing that I do is I'm going to do some lemons. So I'm going to juice a lemon, and then I'm going to zest the other part.
Cool.
And my is.
I was just reading about the benefits of lemon zest the other day, like how really it has some major like properties for, I don't know, fighting cancer or something. I was just reading about it. So I bought a big bag of lemons for the first time in I don't know how many years. Started blending them up into my shakes and stuff.
Where do you live?
We live in New York.
Okay.
In the Catskills. We don't live in the city. We live in the Catskills.
I went to a camp in the Catskills when I was a teenager.
Yep, they're all over here.
I'm in LA.
Nice.
And we have lemons everywhere.
Oh, just lemons growing wild? Not wild.
Yeah, like we moved here from New York City a couple of years ago, and I'm a runner. And I was running one day and I found like a pomegranate just in the gutter as I was running. And I was sold.
So she just ground the zest in like fine or grated the zest into the Vitamix with all the bananas and everything else, the maple syrup. What is that?
Like a microplane. It's like another really nice investment if you're going to be doing a lot of cooking. So I don't know how you guys want to navigate this part because it's going to be really loud.
All right, I'm going to turn the volume. She's got the blender right up next to the camera. Ready for your ears. Damn, that thing did fast work of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a little weird. All right, so then I'm going to add the CBD.
This is what we've been waiting for. This is like the money shot.
Okay. So I'm going to do 2 servings in this. It's going to be a pretty hearty shake.
Was that a full tank or was that most of the tank? How many drops did you put in there?
That's about 6 drops, but I did 2 sets of 6.
Okay. And how many drops is in a full, like one full thing if you were to do the whole thing? I mean, like,
I think I'd say it's like 8.
That's what I was thinking.
9.
So it's almost a full tank. We call one little dropper full a tank.
Okay.
Because it's like when you put it under your mouth, you're taking a tink, sort of like taking a drink. You're taking a tink of a tincture. So we call it taking a tink.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
I like that. You're running. Ready?
Go for it.
Okay.
I'll provide an expert. Thing is rock solid.
So, all right, I'm gonna put this over here, and then I'm going to. So this has a crust. You layer it, the pudding, so you make like a parfait. So I already made this crust because it's a cooking show, and you have to have that bait and switch situation.
Right, yeah. It looks sort of like it looks like one of those weird states in the middle that you don't really go to that often.
I'm from a weird middle state. I'm from Missouri.
There you go. If you would have told me this is the shape of Missouri, I would have believed you, I think. Hey,
kind of more like Arkansas.
Arkansas. Let me see. Hold it up again. I could see it. It could also be like Australia, maybe.
Australia too. That's kind of. Okay, so it's mostly almond flour and a little bit of cultured vegan butter. So I have a recipe for cultured vegan CBD butter in the book.
Right.
You can also at a store if you want to. There's a brand called Mayekos that, of course, won't have the CBD, but it's delicious. So almond flour, cultured vegan butter, coconut sugar, and vanilla extract, and that's about it. And so it's on a cookie sheet, and you bake it for about 12 minutes. It smells really nice. And then for this, I'm going to break it up so that it makes little crumbs.
Oh, okay. So the shape didn't matter. I was wondering what was going to happen with that shape.
Nope.
She's breaking it all up. She kind of like wrapped it in the paper and like rolled it, and like Australia just crumbled. It was like Thanos snapped his fingers and just crumbled Australia to nothing. New Zealand's intact, though. That's how it works with Thanos.
Also, put this whole funky shaped thing into your blender if you wanted to, and like grind it up that way. But I think fingers are good. I kind of like the rusticity of a bigger.
You're finger breaking
grind.
it. That's another type of way to break up nugs. It's called finger breaking, rather than using a grinder.
Yes.
So you're finger breaking She's using your fingertips and just breaking Australia up to nothing. Little chunks.
My husband is the joint roller.
The joint roller of the family. The designated joint roller. He gives her the munchies to enjoy the food. And it's CBD infused too, so come on, you can't lose with that. Speaking of which, I've got it's a 1,500 milligram. So this is what I'm doing right here. Split it there. That's it. 1,500 divided by, it should just be 3 times that, right? 30, 50 milligrams. That's a pretty hefty dose.
Mm-hmm.
We go big on this show, though. We don't care.
Bigger go.
Exactly. Exactly. We like to get bristling up in here.
The bristling.
I don't know if she could hear that. I don't know if she can hear the sounders.
Do you play that every time?
Every time we get bristling. All right, so she's pouring some in there.
Yeah, so I'm doing like a layered situation here. So again, it's like a parfait. I did a layer of fresh bananas. I have this bowl of fresh bananas sliced into coin-sized shapes. And then I did a layer of the crumbles. And then I did a layer of the pudding. Now I'm going to do it all over again.
I like that you had the, what do they call it? Mise en plots or something? Mise plots? What's the word for it? When you have all the like little parts made ahead of time. It's very professional.
Well, I mean, I am a professional. I was also instructed to do that, but yeah, if you like ceramics and stuff, you gotta use that. Otherwise,
Cool.
What's the point?
Yeah, no kidding. So the stuff that she spooned from the mix, whatever it's called, mix something. What is it called again? What's that blender called again? The Mixel. What is it?
Vitamix?
The Vitamix. Yeah, she kind of scooped with a spoon that.
I did. So you can kind of pour, but yeah, I'm like doing a controlled pour.
Oh, she's doing it again, like layers and layers, and then she builds up a layer of this like delicious looking banana texture with the maple syrup and the vegan butter and stuff and vanilla, and then she puts it on top of the layer of the crumbled up crust, some banana little like circles. I don't know what you call those. What do you call a little banana circle? I'm horrible at food words.
The coin.
Coins. That's it. Like a coined banana. That's good. Oh, that looks so good. Like that looks like a little parfait that you'd get at a 5-star restaurant, and it's got CBD in it. So that's the kind of like even better. No fair, man. Very cool. This is why like we got to get this technology a little bit more advanced. Let's like start developing wormholes and the ability to travel, you know, like go through a Stargate or something and be in your kitchen and then taste that. There's really no way to do it over Zoom. Like there should be a SpaceX just for doing this. All right, she's pouring another one. She's making another like second. So it's a layer of that. What do you call that? Is it like a custard? What would you call that? The whipped up stuff.
Pudding. But yeah, the banana pudding and then the I mean, you could do it any way you want, but banana pudding and then crumbles and then banana slices. And sometimes if I'm feeling real fancy, I add coconut cream as a layer. I was going to do that, but I froze it too much. So no coconut cream today.
That's your loss because we wouldn't be able to try it. But if we did see it, then we'd be even more hungry, man.
If you look at this is what goes into the romesco. It's red peppers, whole almonds that are roasted, and whole cloves of garlic. And then I'm going to show you again like what that looks like. Actually, I'll do this. We'll even get a spoon. If I can find a spoon. There's a spoon. But yeah, like the consistency, which you can't see.
Yeah, I can see it. It looks.
But it's like so smooth. You would never be able to get that with like a Ninja or anything like that.
No, that is like a baby food consistency or something. That is just pureed down to you can't tell what the original ingredients were. It just looks like an orangish kind of, almost like a orangey ketchup or something.
Custard too, or pudding. Now you've got me calling it custard.
Banana pudding, yum.
No.
Medicated banana pudding we're looking at here, gang. That is delicious.
All right, so I'm going to do my last layer. That and banana coins. All right. One fell out. Okay, that's it.
That looks awesome.
Yes. 2 delicious treats.
Wow, they look great.
Thank you.
Congratulations on making that delicious thing for us. Wow, they look great. That looks like something you'd get at a very fancy restaurant. I that's the kind of thing, like you see small portions of that at like the buffets in Atlantic City or something, but it looks like, wow, amazing. She's eating it.
Really good.
Yeah, she's gonna eat both of them.
I don't think I could eat both of them.
Save the other one for your husband, I guess.
I know. Well, he just walked in and then walked out again.
Very cool. That was awesome. Thank you for making that for us. That was great.
All right. Well, I think I made everything.
Cool. Now we can talk while you like enjoy eating. If you want to eat, hey, there's a kid. Is that your son?
This is Valentine.
How's it going, Valentine? He's waving. He wants some of that. He's like, CBD pudding, please. Kids love pudding. All right, so do you want to just pull over a chair and hang out with us for a bit? And maybe we could talk a little bit about your background and stuff like that.
I can do that. I'm gonna go in the dining room so that I can sit. All right.
Nice. That was quick and easy. Awesome. Thank you so much for cooking for us and preparing. Well, I mean, that's baking, right? That's more baking than cooking. What would you say?
I would say that the sauce is a cooking situation. You're using a roasting pan.
Okay.
But the pudding is baking, yes.
I've never been a baker. I just never did it. If I can't cook it in a wok or a toaster oven, I'm gonna, oh my God, I suck. So your daughter's 9.
So I have a 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. My son will be 5 at the end of December. And that was how I kind of got into CBD, was after my daughter was born. I was trying to figure out something to deal with postpartum anxiety, not depression, but anxiety. And I really didn't want to do traditional pharmaceutical routes. And so I kind of started with a lot of marijuana tinctures and trying to figure out that. And everything was just a little too much for life with a newborn. And so I ended up finding CBD and cooking with it. And that's kind of been what I've done for the last few years. And we moved to LA when my daughter was about 2. And didn't really have any friends or anything like that. And just really met tons of other parents based on treats with CBD and, selling them to my mom friends and that kind of thing. And so it's been like a very community driven endeavor, I would say.
So that's like 2012 maybe that you got into this? Wow. That is early adapter for CBD.
So I have my master's in library and information science. I'm an archivist. I have always loved to bake and have kind of been an amateur baker for quite some time. And then I did a little stint as a pastry chef in a couple of restaurants before deciding to go to get my master's. So I think of myself as more librarian than pastry chef. The librarian part really came in handy with CBD, and just I've always been like a kind of nerd for research, and that was kind of how we got here, was being really interested in sort of green and medicinals and how food can be beneficial and healing and all that stuff. And it kind of all culminated, and that was how the book was born.
This isn't like an Amazon self-published. This is a beautiful book. I was just looking at there's like an article in Forbes that you're like one of the top Christmas picks for like if you're buying a weed book for this Christmas. I was just checking it out when I was eating my ramen noodles, which is gross, by the way. I don't know, because I knew I was going to watch her cook, and like I just had to have something in my stomach. But yeah, congratulations on that. like hopefully some people will be picking up your book for Christmas. I mean, this like there's a lot of good wintry recipes in here.
There are, and none of them are super difficult as a bonus because I'm not a professional chef, so nothing is fluffy.
How did you land this book deal not being a professional? It's pretty amazing.
You know, it's what's really crazy about it is that I write, I always have, and like I have since pushed so many new ideas and no one is interested in any of them. They're all like, maybe more CBD. So I think it was very timely. And I think that it's particularly nice that it works for people with, dietary restrictions. And we did really work to make a beautiful book so that it would be really appealing. And
we've been sent a lot of books, a lot of cannabis books so far, and none of them were that quality. Beautiful, like really nice.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. We had a wonderful time making it. I used a photographer that's a friend of ours, and she's so incredibly talented, and styled it together and had a really great time doing it. And it felt like a very LA book. Like we got it outside and natural light and herbs and things like that.
Yeah, putting mindfulness in your title is a very LA thing. That's a very new agey thing, and I love that. Like we love that kind of stuff here.
I know. Maybe Goop should sell it.
No kidding. Gwyneth, she listens to this podcast and watches the show. Yeah.
So I think I kind of hit on this a little bit when I was awkwardly cooking for you, but my family and I have like a weird sort of like imposed diet that we kind of just have made up. Cuckoo clock. We eat fish, but we don't do a whole lot of dairy, and then we do our backyard chicken eggs. So that's kind of the way that the book got its weird, different type of eating. But based on that, there's a lot of Christmas recipes that I love that we wouldn't eat traditionally. So there's a recipe in there for a vegan eggnog, and there is also a spiked apple cider that I love.
I have a thing with eggnog. Like I was, every year I would just get so addicted to eggnog and just drink it kind of the whole season, which is horrible because it's so bad for you. So I had to give myself like my own limitation, my own pre-existing limitation, where basically the first time I see eggnog on a shelf, I buy it and I drink it all that night. Like I just pound it. And then like I can't get any more until Thanksgiving. And then I'll do the same thing. I'll buy it, drink it to excess, just pound it.
You're like buying it before Thanksgiving though. Like
what?
You're not.
Oh yeah, they come out like the day after Halloween. There's eggnog. You kidding me? I've already done it like twice now. And then like during the Christmas time, like that little break, I can have eggnog. That's it. Those are the 3 times. Otherwise, I would just, I can't control myself. I would just be nonstop eggnogging it up. But vegan eggnog sounds a little healthier. CBD vegan eggnog, I think I could do a couple extra days.
It gets its creaminess from banana instead of eggnog. It's really good. Like it's. I've had people challenge me and say that it doesn't taste eggnoggy to them. I beg to differ. That one doesn't have real eggs in it.
It's a simulation.
It has nutmeg. Which I find to
be all it takes.
Catalyst of all holiday cheer.
Yeah, totally. You throw nutmeg in anything, automatically it tastes like Christmas, It's crazy, but it does. Nutmeg is the secret. Same with pumpkin spice. Like pumpkin hardly has a taste. It's like throw nutmeg in there and then it tastes sort of pumpkin-y, right? Isn't that what it is? It's like fools your brain.
Nutmeg cinnamon blend.
Cinnamon, yeah.
I like it in coffee too. There are also cinnamon rolls in the book.
I'm going to pull the book over and like show some of these things as you're mentioning them. What section is that in?
The cinnamon rolls?
Yeah.
I think it's in breakfast pastry.
Oh, here they are.
That's a cinnamon roll.
So these pictures were all taken right there in your kitchen where we just saw you do everything?
That's actually not my kitchen. It was the photographer's kitchen, which is a much fancier kitchen than my own.
Oh, okay. So you went over there and you did all the dirty work.
I did.
Nice. Yeah, we just got access to a kitchen here. So if you ever get up to New York, swing by and we can cook something up here.
I love it.
Yeah, we have a kitchen like 100 feet away from our studio, and we haven't been able to use it, and now finally we have access. So pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had an in-office chef, but since quarantine started, that's kind of ended. So now that kitchen is ours. So gang, you're going to see a lot more. You're going to see a lot more of us doing some cooking here. Yeah, you can get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com. It's everywhere, right?
Any independent bookstore, if you want to go that route. Yep.
Wow. That's congratulations. That's really, really big step.
Thank you. I really hope that I get to do a savory one now, because I feel like those are even more easy to eat if we can ever have like parties again. I've had nice success with dips and things like that. People are really into it. Of course, we're not in a dipping place in the world.
It's so
we'll
sad.
Get back to that communal dip.
Like once there's actual like some way to make sure that everyone's not going to get sick, then yeah, it does. It's so sad though, that communal party where you can dip all together. That was a fun thing. This summer we went to my parents have a friend named Maureen, and she has like a lake, and like they set up. She said she usually would bring out this big, beautiful spread of food, and like everyone in the community kind of hung out at the lake and ate from the food. And this time she had to bring out like individual things for each person, like broken down versions of the big spread. When I take a lot of CBD, like way more than I really need, more for recreational, then I start to feel like all of my hair and like all my cells are bristling. Like bristling with potential, to the point where if I were to hit a THC vape or something, it just instantly turns insanely high. It's like a recreational way to take CBD. But I don't know if that happens for everybody, but it sure happens for me, and it's crazy. We don't do THC here on the show because it's not legal in New York.
You're in New York?
Yet. But hopefully, Cuomo said that in April.
So that's something to look forward to.
Definitely. Then we'll start cooking some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? We'll mix it up.
Dangerous. I feel like it's a little easier to overdo it when you're doing straight THC.
A THC edibles you're talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll bet. Have you experimented with that?
I mostly have done, putting things in like a vegan butter and cooking with that. It's just, I don't find it to be as much fun because there's always this guiding sort of like, oh, take a bite instead of eating like a slice or whatever. It's just, there's always a little bit of jeopardy involved there. Maybe not if you're not a lightweight like me and concerned about being able to like function, but
right.
We've done like the incremental courses before, COVID and whatever. We did have a couple outside like dinner parties in the summer where we did like small doses of THC for the entrees and stuff like that. But I've never thought about counteracting it with the distillate of CBD.
I like CBD and THC combined. I like the combination. It's a great feeling. It makes me think so much, like so creatively. I kind of just brainstorm my ass off. I was going to say, as far as edibles though, I want to show you. If you see over here, this is the other part of our set. So in the back there, that's the magical butter machine that's spinning in the corner. I don't know if you can get a look at that. The metal thing on the right there. Yeah, that's a magical butter machine. So that's where we make our CBD butter and only CBD butter. My favorite, I'm starting to invent some meals, the single guy meals that are not anything that complicated. My first meal, I didn't write this down or anything, but I just have it memorized. So it's very simple. You just take like mashed potatoes, very easy. Once it's already hot, once the potatoes are hot and warm, then you just take a pat of butter and you mix it into the mashed potatoes and eat the mashed potatoes. I call that Spuds Marley, and it is fucking great because that's a great way to get the edible. You don't have to cook the butter. The butter's already made. It's melting into the thing that you already use butter in. You can also throw some real butter in on top of the potato so it kind of masks the cannabis taste if you're not too into it. So that's called Spuds Marley. Second thing, I just saw a thing I posted like on my personal page the other day, last night actually, sweet potato cheesecake. It was like cheesecake with sweet potato in it. It looked so good. And the amazing thing about it, and I was thinking about it when I was looking at that picture, I was like, I've never tasted this, but I already know what it's going to taste like. It's going to taste goddamn delicious because I can sense the taste of what cheesecake tastes like. I know what that tastes like. I know how it tastes when you chew it. I know what it tastes like when you swallow it. I know how it smells. I know the texture. I know the same with sweet potato pie, you know, that kind of thing. So like your brain can do the math and combine those different like taste sensations and like the tooth feel and the swallow feel. Like your brain can bake it for you. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing what our minds can do. You can just put that together, and I already know I'm going to love it. Second thing that I invented, this is very easy. So you go to a Chinese place, right? And you order General Tso's chicken. You can make it at home if you really know how to do Chinese food, which I don't really know how to do that well. General Tso's chicken, right? And then you get chicken and broccoli, but tell them General Tso's sauce instead of the chicken and broccoli sauce. So now you get like a really General Tso's infused chicken and broccoli. You combine that with the General Tso's chicken. It doesn't have to be a full portion. And then you throw a little bit of mashed potatoes in there and you add some canna butter.
Ew. Wait,
it is so friggin' good. I'm telling you, it's just a little bit of mashed potatoes, a teeny bit. It just adds this consistency because it's like you've got the broccoli, you've got the chicken that's made for chicken and broccoli, and then you've got the General Tso's chicken, which is like, I don't know how deep fried or whatever they do it. But I call this the, what did I name it? General Chong's chicken, like Tommy Chong. I think it is a winner. We've got two pre-made, very easy to make meals that you can add your butter to. You don't have to like infuse it early on. It's the last step is adding this butter because it's already warm. So it'll melt right in. You just kind of like mush it in there, eat it up. And then, 90 minutes later, you're Stony Stoner eating, or like Stony Stoner Scythe, depending on how you feel. So enjoy those. You can take those meals to the grave. And seriously, no cooking involved if you don't want to. You can even use instant potatoes.
You could do like a spaghetti limon or something that would be so easy and like more palatable.
And that sounds like more than 2 steps.
Not much though. Like
unless it's like ramen.
No, I mean, you'd have to boil some noodles, but yeah, it'd be like cream and lemon and butter. And
that would be good too, because you're also getting like limonene, which is a terp. So you're like combining a terpene. Every time you combine a different terpene to the, you know this, obviously, you're a chef, but every time you combine terpenes into the cannabinoids, you're changing your experience, like really altering the experience. So that is kind of like you're fucking with the chemistry of the food, but you're also changing the chemistry that's going into your body, so your brain's going to react differently. I love that. Like there really needs to be more experimentation with terpenes, flavonoids, cannabinoids in cooking. And I was also talking the other day about this, and my ex did not agree with me, but this is a real sensation for me. When you take a hit from say a THC vape that has like certain terpenes, and then you eat a certain, usually like a savory or a very sweet food, like a dessert food or like an ice cream or something like that. Custard. What's that? So
like the taste in your mouth?
The taste, like if you take a vape while you're eating this, it completely, for me, alters my taste buds to either make the food taste like something completely different than what it was, or it takes the taste of that food and makes it like 1,000 times better or like 1,000 times more intense. Yes. Yeah. Have you experienced that?
15-year-old me was very partial to that with Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb, like smoking weed and like drinking soda. Yeah. I remember just being like, it tastes so much better.
My brother said when he was in college, they used to, every time they would have parties, like frat type parties, but they're weed parties instead of like keg parties. So they would get a keg of root beer to have with the smoking weed. So they still had that keg experience, but they're getting that, like you were saying, like a delicious soda that gets enhanced. Yeah. So one other thing that I don't know if you've experienced this, but this is one of my experiences with cooking and cannabinoids, mainly, the entourage effect. We're not talking just straight CBD, but like multiple cannabinoids. So if I take a hit of something before I eat, just a little bit before, like for me, if I go to a 5-star restaurant, there is a max of how good this is going to taste. It's a 10. 10 is the best you can get at a 5-star restaurant. For me personally, if I take just a hit or a couple hits of something some cannabinoids beforehand, my scale gets increased to a 15. 15 is now what it could achieve. Like, so even a meal that would be like a 7 with the cannabinoids could be a 12. Like I'll get a better experience off of a 7 meal with cannabinoids than I would Gordon Ramsay cooking me a meal, no cannabinoids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very bizarre. It's sort of like at a comedy show, they do a 2-drink minimum because the comedy's going to be funnier if you're drunk. You know what I mean? It like raises the bar of your funny ability to accept funny. So there should be restaurants, like when this starts getting legal around here, I'm sure this exists in California, that like there should be like vapes that go, oh, hold on. Like vapes that accompany the different courses, or like a tink you take in like as an aperitif or something like that. Like there's science behind this that has to be explored. I can't be alone on.
My new favorite expression, the tink you take. That should be your like biography title.
Oh, there we go. That's a name. We just quick get the .com. We had to figure out how to even spell tink, but we went with TINC, right?
Not like Tinkerbell. She's a TINK.
Right. I think Disney probably has the copyright on that one, the trademark. But no, TINC like tincture, because it doesn't have a K in it. That was the like, should we go TINC? I guess TINC.
I've seen TINC.
What? Say that again?
I think I've seen that tink with a C.
Probably us. Titration it's an actual technical term when someone's getting medication. They start low because they don't want to make you overdose on whatever medication you're taking. So like this also works for CBD or THC. If you're trying to figure out how much CBD would help something that's ailing you or hurting you or something, it makes sense to start with a lower level. And then like every day you add a little more, and then you start to feel the difference. And if you're feeling better and better and better, then you're titrating up and you're getting to the point where, you know that this is really working. And then it becomes a point where you're feeling like optimal good. And if you take more, it doesn't make you feel any more good. And that's your like sweet spot. That's your golden level. So you don't want to titrate past it. It really doesn't matter. It's not like you can really OD on CBD, but you're just throwing money away. You're throwing money away, right. Because CBD is not cheap. So yeah, that's why we like to say titrate up. It's kind of a good way to teach people like how to, because one of the things about like, since it's not FDA, whatever, they can't really put on labels like this is a recommended dose or something like that. Right. So this is kind of like how we talk to people about like how you find your dose, because everyone's endocannabinoid system is different too. Like you said, you have a very low tolerance. I personally have a much higher tolerance, I guess. So like it takes, like we can do all these tinks all day and by the end of the day, we're still fine.
Well, I think based on that, I really like to do things like drinks or like the pudding in an individual vessel, that kind of thing. Because if you're sharing with another person and you have something like a cookie, you can, titrate up for the person that is got a higher tolerance. Maybe they want, like a 35 milligram situation as opposed to, somebody else that's more comfortable with like 15. You can just kind of cater to an individual's levels of comfort and keep everybody where they need to be.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you eating a like too strong of an edible or too strong of a meal made with like THC?
With THC, not CBD?
Well, have you ever had a too high of a dose of CBD and it's made you feel differently?
No, I was going to say I've certainly like felt like kind of fuzzy and wished that I wouldn't because it's the middle of the day from CBD. But like, yeah, you can drink a cup of coffee or something and then you're fine.
We call that bristling. That fuzziness is the bristling.
Okay, got it.
The bristling.
THC, I certainly have eaten in it. Like, I think I had a college spring break experience where I ate a brownie and like kept forgetting I was in Florida, which is unfortunate. But like, I remember being in the back of like a car, someone else was driving around and like, I kept thinking that I was in Missouri, like, but turning it into like places that I was comfortable with, and just being like, oh wait, but I'm in Florida. And I remember finally just being so tired of it that I like went to bed.
That is a weed man van story. What kind of car was it?
I think it was a 4Runner.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Nothing but the
It's
best.
funny when you keep forgetting where you are or what day it is or how you got there. That's like an extreme stoned. Like that's
right.
like
it was not a comfortable feeling.
No,
it was
edibles edibles you got to be careful with, gang. It can fuck you up. If you ever do get stuck in a time loop where you can't figure out where exactly you are or how you got there or what day it is, my trick for that is because what happens to me if I get that fucked up, which I rarely do because it's a mistake, or you start being like, oh wait, where is this? How did I get here? I'm in Florida. I thought we're in Missouri. And then like 5 minutes later, you're like, wait a second, we're in Florida. Like you forgot again. Yeah. The way to get out of that time loop, is you have to just think to yourself, I'm going to go over the course of the day in my head. Like I woke up, the thing is every time you do this, you might get stuck into a real time loop because you're like, all right, I woke up, did this, did that, did this. And then by the end of it, you forgot that you were doing that you were going back and thinking about your day. So then you're like confused again. Then you're like, all right, wait, let me start over. Like then now you're thinking about it like twice the speed because you're thinking back to like, and then I thought I should think about what this day was and how I woke up. So now you're thinking about it like double time, triple time, and you get stuck in a real bad loop. The way to get out of that is to just think, and then we're in the present. Like at the end of whatever you say, and then you say, and now I'm in the present. So that'll end your time loop because like now I'm in the present will snap you back to reality. Like, okay, I'm no longer thinking about this whole day. I did wake up in Florida. I got in the car, ate the edible, and now I'm in the present. That's how it works. Not like, let's start over again. I gotta get this thing straight. It's a real weird situation that can happen to you, and it's a mind fuck. You get that high. Do you remember?
That was pretty awful.
Yeah. Sometimes edibles you just don't want to take way too much because it can mess you up. You can trip. You can really trip. We did an experiment in Vegas. We were at this like big gala award show for, cannabis awards and stuff. And we decided to because it's legal there. So we decided to take a bunch of edibles and go to this award show. And there were like all these different booths like that would take your picture for you. Like a robot would take your picture. So we decided to drop a bunch of edibles and start doing these booths nonstop. And they tracked your time too, like when the picture's taken. So like we wanted to see how long it took for them to kick in and how fucked up we could get. Yeah, this is one of those pictures from it right there. You can see it. Yeah, we were really, really fucked up by the end. It was so fun. But yeah, like that's the kind of thing, if you're not in a safe space or you're not in a legal state or like, if you're the type of person that gets super paranoid, at least have some CBD with you to knock down that paranoia. Like CBD can be great for if you're a type of person that if you take, too much THC, you can knock that shit down with some CBD. It's pretty good. Like Anthony was saying, those THC limo rides or whatever, they had CBD in the car in case you got too high. Now,
yeah, an antidote.
Yeah, yeah. It's like landing gear for the plane that's out of control.
Only spring break 2002 me had known. That was the only one I went on.
Where did you go on spring break? Just the Florida one?
Yeah, the only one I went to was Florida. And I lost my purse on the way there. I left it in a McDonald's in Birmingham, Alabama. And my mom had to wire me money. And I got really sunburned. And then I ate that edible brownie thing. And then I don't really remember a whole lot. Sunburn was the worst part. Like a really bad sunburn is a real trip ruiner. I was in agony. It was awful.
Oh, yeah. No kidding. That's the other thing. If you're really super high on edibles, don't go laying in the sun because you will not realize how long you've been out there or like you'll forget to put sunscreen on, that kind of stuff. Before we let you go, I do want to hear like the story. Like I was reading in your introduction about how your early times with like with THC and stuff were not that pleasurable. Do you remember your absolute first time you ever like were introduced to marijuana? Cannabis in any form? Yeah.
I mean, I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me, and he was a pretty good introduction to most awful things. And not that that's awful, but I mean, anything that like he wasn't supposed to share, I'm sure he did. So I think that was probably the first time I ever tried, was under the deck of my house in Missouri with my older brother and some of his super cool friends.
The dank deck. Do you remember what kind of, like, was it a joint or was it like out of a bowl or something? An apple or a can of soda? An apple. Dude, the apple again for the win.
My husband did made an apple like pipe or whatever it is, like within the last 2 years.
That's
like
awesome.
A parlor trick.
I think that the intro to smoking weed should be, the first time you ever smoke should be through an apple. I think that's the golden rule, my rule. That's how it should be. It's timeless, and you're taking like one form of nature that's like the forbidden fruit, and you're adding some like of this forbidden plant to it. It's awesome. What a great way to start. That's an awesome intro. But you didn't get super high the first times, or you didn't like it?
I did like it. I mean, I don't remember it being terrible. Like I was ready for it to go away. I think that and I definitely remember the first time I drank being ready to be sober again very quickly. But I think it was fun. We probably just like laughed a lot and went inside and thought that our parents didn't notice.
Yeah, man. When like your perception is so keyed up, especially when you first start, like you're able to see and experience things and really see the absurdity of everything that's kind of like the normal way things are. You're just like, I can't believe I've been living this normal way, and like things, this is weird. Like some of these things are really weird. Like you start to really notice it, and then when people say something that's really funny, your brain really analyzes it and finds the super funny of it. You know, I love that. So many cool things about cannabis, not just the medicinal properties, but like recreational as well. So it's exciting that now, like, it's becoming acceptable, especially in like you in a legal state and everything. And, you know, more and more legal states every election. It's just happening. It's all starting to change, that you get these quality, like kick-ass books. Look like this. This is solid, man. And like, there's like these little metallic debossed areas, and like this is quality. So like the fact that we can have these in bookstores now, like when I was a kid, this shit did not exist, you know. Like, and I'm not that old, so it's kind of amazing that stuff is changing so fast. Like
I agree.
We're really at the beginning of something, and as more and more of these cookbooks come out, and people start like, I think that food is like the universal, like everyone eats, you know. So yeah, it's not so scary to eat something. You're not, especially if it's like you don't even taste if you mix it to the point where you don't even taste any kind of herb taste to it. Like that's a good intro to getting high, and also to getting medicated with CBD as well. Like some people are scared of that. So if you are scared, or your grandmother might be scared of CBD, and yeah, if your grandma or grandpa might be a little nervous to take that plunge into CBD, then you can just pick up one of these cookbooks. Jamie Hall, our guest today, they love, a lot of grandparents love to cook. Mine did, and this could be like the intro for senior citizens into trying CBD, or even mixing it up a little bit and trying some THC. It's possible.
My mom's been sending it out as her Christmas gift to everybody. She's very proud of me.
Awesome. That's really cool. That's awesome when your parents can like support you when you're working in the cannabis world, you know? I think that's great. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Jamie Hall. Very amazing to see you do a little demonstration for us, and awesome to hear your backstory.
Thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. Great. Bye. Thanks so much. Bye. Again, thank you to Jamie Hall for coming on the show. This is an awesome alternative. It's called Alternative Alchemy. Recipes and mindful baking with CBD herbs and adaptations. So you can pick this up on Amazon or anywhere books are sold.
information in this podcast, live stream, video, audio presentation, or YouTube video, or its related social media pages or interactions
are for informational purposes only.
CBD Source Center and the CBD Source podcast does not offer medical advice. Its host, Col Cheyney, is not a medical professional.
His experiences with cannabidiol and other cannabinoids
Are his own and may not affect you the same way. Everybody's endocannabinoid system is different. Statements made regarding CBD and THC products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The efficacy of these products and the testimonials made have not been confirmed by FDA-approved research. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All information presented here is not meant as a substitute for, or alternative to, information from healthcare practitioners. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act requires this notice.
What do you call that? Is it like a custard? What would you call that? The whipped up stuff?